Anything But Christmas sounded like a really interesting film, and I'm pleased to say the execution was not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's interesting enough. This was released in 2021. It's directed by Bobby Lacer, and it's written by Lacer and Jason Campbell. And we have a cast including Abi Van Andel as Beth and Matthew Utley as Bartholomew. And Bartholomew is actually one of Santa's elves, and he visits Beth, who is a Kentucky state representative, because there is currently a bill being proposed to change the name from Christmas to anything else that means it's more inclusive. And the elf is there to basically act on Santa's behalf and say, if you do this, Santa as we know him will no longer exist, and the traditions of Christmas will disappear. And there are loads of really valid arguments here, and it's all about Beth having to process this information and work out what the best thing to do is. And they definitely could have taken a different angle with this, and I think they made the right decision, because I think they could have gone down the religious route. If you change the name from Christmas, it's no longer going to be about the birth of Christ. And I know that a lot of people have issues with Christmas not necessarily just being about the birth of Christ. Anyway, speaking as a religious person, I do not care why somebody celebrates Christmas. I know that over the years, it has become more than just about celebrating the birth of Christ. There are stories of togetherness and spending time with your loved ones. And I know for a lot of people, it means more than just the birth of Christ. But they could have gone down the religious aspect. But I feel like, in a way, they are doing that without saying that. They're saying that if you change the name from Christmas, everything that Christmas stands for will disappear, or it will not be as prominent. And I think that that's a valid argument, whether you're looking at it from the Christ perspective or the Santa Claus perspective. And I think that the arguments are really interesting, and Bartholomew as a character I really liked as well. Beth is an okay protagonist. I didn't mind her. We dig a little bit into her character. We learn more about her. And yeah, she's a well-written character, but she's definitely not the most interesting, in my opinion. But the performances are all really good. The narrative is definitely very fascinating. And I think as a story, it was interesting enough. It wasn't the most engaging from start to finish. There were times when it definitely felt a little slow and the characters maybe weren't as interesting. But in general, generally speaking, I thought Anything But Christmas was an interesting concept, reasonably well executed, with some likeable characters. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more Christmas, a little bit more Christmas elements in this. We do get a Santa Claus, children visiting a Santa Claus, and we have Christmas decorations and things. But I think it could have been a little bit more powerful if they lent more into some of the Christmas traditions and were able to give more examples of things that might fade away if they changed the name. Because obviously changing the name is just the first step in stepping away from Christmas as we know it. And it's a fascinating concept. And the film itself, I think, did a good job of illustrating this and kind of giving different arguments. And, well, it's not too bad at all. If you're interested in the concept, definitely check it out. It's a decent story, likeable characters, definitely a little bit different. I've seen over 1,000 feature-length Christmas films at this point, and this is certainly very unique, so I'm quite happy with it. Anything But Christmas is an interesting story, reasonably well executed, with some likeable characters and good performances, and in general, I'd say it's one that's worth checking out.